This is the North Georgia Life Podcast. Embrace life where you live. Welcome to the North Georgia Life Podcast. It is Jake, and honestly, I'm a little at a loss for words on how to even introduce our episode today. We are speaking with Jason LeBlanc, who is the general manager for Waterfall Club in Clayton, Georgia, that is just on the north side of Lake Burton. I can't even, if you have not been up to this area of our North Georgia region, I'm telling you, you're missing one of the best parts of it. It is absolutely beautiful, and the club that we are at today is absolutely no exception to that. It is a hidden gem. I would say 90% of the North Georgia region, the Atlanta metro area, has never even heard of it, and I'm telling you, you're missing it. You are freaking missing it. You don't need to go anywhere out of this state to find gorgeous luxury mountain property. It has a golf course that is absolutely breathtaking. So as that is a means of introduction, you can find out more information about this on our Facebook page. That's North Georgia Life Podcast. You can email us at northgeorgialifepodcast@gmail.com, and we will get right to it. Welcome to the North Georgia Life Podcast. My name is Jake, and for those of you listening, you're going to want to take notes because I'm about to save you some time, some money, some gas, and taxes in multiple states. I know what you're thinking. I've been looking for that, so we're now best friends. What most of us know in the Atlanta metro area is Northeast Georgia. We have people that we know that have friends, family members, coworkers who are always driving every year to Highlands, North Carolina, and they're driving there because they don't know about this place right here in Clayton, Georgia. North Georgia is riddled with great tucked-away secrets, and this is one of my favorites. I had an opportunity to play golf here maybe 8-9 years ago, something like that. It is an absolutely stunning golf course, and we're going to give you a little bit of the behind-the-scenes information on the property here, what it has to offer. For those of you who are drawn to the Highlands, North Carolina area, this is right here in Georgia. It has everything that you're looking for in the Highlands area, but it's a lot closer to home, and you don't have to file taxes for multiple states. So it's a win on all fronts. So the person sitting across the table from me today is Jason LeBlanc. Jason is the general manager here at Waterfall. Jason and I had an opportunity to work together for about 4 years. We were just talking almost 10 years ago now, was the last time we got to see each other's beautiful faces. Jason has had a pretty extensive career that has gone in some different directions, but as we're going to talk about, some of those things have really made him into the quality and the level of leader and general manager he is here at the club. I can tell you he is one of few people that I'm envious of in life because this is his view from his office, and he's a better cook than I am, which is very rare because I like to cook. But Jason is a phenomenal cook. And I'll also just tell you, he is, from people that have worked with him, worked under him in the past, everybody will say the same things about him. He's a family man. He's a great leader. He leads by example, just generally a great human being. So I love that I get an opportunity to sit here. I'm thankful we have a breeze, of course, because we're on the top of a mountain.
Thank you for the kind words, but it is great to see you again, and I'm glad to share. One of the things I love the most is for people to see this for the first time. I know you felt it and seen a little bit of it before when we played golf that day, but this is a special place, so thanks for making the time.
Probably don't remember the 20-foot putt that I sank on this course because you see so many of them from me over the years.
Yeah, I use that as an example every day when I'm playing with members. The Moran putt.
That's right, because it was the one putt. So, Jason, I know a little bit about your past and your work history, but for those who are wondering where does a general manager of a club like this come from, take us back a little bit, where you grew up, how you got to start with your first job, and just kind of connect some of the dots along the way.
So a general manager, by definition, is kind of a jack of all trades, a master of none, maybe. But I come through the restaurants, not the typical club manager that comes through the PGA program. So I have more hospitality background. I have more of a service and hospitality background, which I think helps me here in this spot. We are about golf. Golf is very important, but golf is just one of the services and amenities that a lake lifestyle, mountain lake lifestyle brings, and what our members are drawn to. So I really feel fortunate that my background has come through hospitality. First from a bagger at a grocery store to dishwasher to working at the front of the house of restaurants in many different places, Dallas, Houston, Austin, St. Louis, Arkansas. All of those things I look back on, and they've all kind of given me the toolbox that I have now, and I'm very grateful for all of my opportunities. But at this project, I feel like I've been able to use all of those tools throughout the course of the last 6-7 years, as we've really had to reposition and rebuild. So I've had to do sales and marketing and promotion and such that I've learned from a different project, and email marketing and membership strategies, and while we don't have a sales component of real estate, which I'm thankful for because we really get to focus on the private club, we have a sales component of membership sales, and of course membership and dues and revenue associated with are really the lifeblood of what we have here. So I'm really fortunate to be able to lead this project, and I really feel like I've gotten prepped for this along the course of my career. So it's a neat feeling to go to work every day and to know it's going to be a challenge, but know that you, at the end of the day, you can hang your hat high that you made a difference and lead by example. I think you picked up on it. That's certainly important for me.
I was going to get this a little later in our conversation, but wanted to touch on it really because I think it's a critical component of how you got here. I remember when you were, I don't even know if you call it applying for this job. I remember it so well, and I've shared it with people since then. You went for it. Like some people, when they're applying for a job, it's a resume, it's a cover letter, it's the bare minimum of applying for a job or trying to get a job, and it's just like, well, I hope they call me back. I remember you putting together like a package deal that wasn't even asked for, and that's ultimately why you and I are sitting here talking today, and that's 10 years ago. Talk a little bit about that and just kind of going the extra mile for the things you want in life.
Well, not everything in life is hair raising and just obvious. But when I first met this operation and came up, I was asked to just do due diligence for a sale out of a deal that was going on between a company I was associated with and a new potential buyer. And I came up, and it was interesting. I lived in Dahlonega at the time, and it was February day, kind of typical, hazy, sunny. Maybe in the upper 40s, low 50s, and when I got to Lake Burton, it clouded up, and when I came up this mountain, it was a whiteout of snow. So I met this place in like fairy tale conditions, and I was like, what the heck is this place? And I didn't even get to see the view that day because it was just white. There was just you couldn't see the lake, you couldn't see the mountains. But after I spent that day here, I called my wife immediately, and she said, well, how did it go? And I said, well, it went great. And she said, well, yeah, well, what do they need? And I said, well, they need me. And that was just obvious that what this place needed, it had the bones, it had all of the big dream, the big views, the stunning golf course on a mountain with cool weather grasses. It had all that. It had the backbone. It had what it needed was somebody to figure out how to run it, and that was really a challenge. I was just I didn't really have a choice. It was chosen for me, I think. So, without sounding a little corny or whatever,
you hit the nail on the head because it was. I remember that era when we worked together, and there was so many things that for a lot of us were just kind of being, I don't want to say pulled out of the hat, but just kind of thrown at you of, hey, this is part of what we need from you right now. And that was part of the ask from you, but then you go kind of above and beyond, became clear to the management that had asked you to do that we don't have just a pencil pusher putting some numbers together from a due diligence standpoint, we have somebody who understands this place and what it's lacking. Because when you come up here, and you should come up here, it is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like you are transported into some sort of mountain paradise. It's stunning.
It is, and it never gets old. And even 10 years now into the project, 9 full seasons into this project, I still find myself stopping and taking a look at the view, taking pictures of the sunsets and sunrises and wildlife and bears and turkey and all that. That's just this natural surrounding. When you have 350 acres on a mountain, you have some pretty cool sights to see, for sure.
Yeah, it's not terrible up here. Of all the different jobs, the different places that you've lived, any particular skill set components, and I want to get to talking about the property here, but any things you've just along the way that really became, I don't want to say, kind of structural theme components of making you a good GM?
Yeah, I mean, great question. You're sort of always training for the next step, the next role. And in the last role, from a club that I worked, was more clubhouse and food and beverage centric. I think the strategy that I tried to incorporate here, having a clean slate and coming on as a new operations leader, was really about situational management. Learning how to manage a team, learning how to manage the individual and getting the most out of them. But I realized that the days that we kind of grew up in, or maybe we were on a cusp of the days where the boss would sit behind the desk and pound his hands on the table, and you would do what you're told because he was your boss. Those days are kind of over. The people that we're trying to motivate here, which typically are younger, seasonal people, they need to know the why of things. They need to know that what they do every day has a purpose. I can tell you to go clean that table, but if I tell you that it's really important that our members have the highest level of cleanliness standards because they're so well traveled, and guess what? If you take care of them and you make this a home away from home, they're gonna shower you with tips and gratuities. If you take the time to explain it, then the buy-in is a lot better. And I think that's one of the things that I took from my last position to this position. I was really tried to be consistent in my last position to managing everybody the same way because it wasn't fair to manage people in a different manner. But what I really found was that everybody needs those sort of standards to stay within, boundaries to stay within, but they really need to be motivated individually.
One of the things that I've shared with, I mean, honestly, I say countless people, dozens of people over the last 9-10 years that I've never seen anybody do, and it's probably a trade secret and you can't tell me, but I would come down to the clubhouse where Jason was, and somehow he could train. You could have a 6-top table. He could train his wait staff to take everyone's custom order without writing a single thing down. And they would just, I remember the first time I sat there and I'm like, what are you doing? Write this down. Like you don't have a chance. And they're looking at you, sitting there smiling, nodding, whatever. And sure enough, without fail, they would come back and they would get everybody's order correct. They would put them in front of the right people. And I remember a conversation we had one day, and I can't tell you how many times that I have used this principle since then in a managerial kind of team role. You said you would take people who had never been in the food and beverage industry any day over people who had, because it's harder to untrain bad habits.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you get that rare person who's born with that servant heart and who can, put themselves in the customer's shoes and anticipate their needs and empathize naturally, and it come off authentically. But I would rather have a blank canvas so that you can start without the disadvantage of having bad habits, for sure. Yeah, especially in a project like this, because we're trying to teach people that have typically never seen 3-diamond, 5-star, whatever you want to call it. That level of service and anticipation of needs. You're trying to teach people that have never experienced them themselves. Some folks, this is not only their first club job, but it's their first job. So we're trying to teach people to do something that's not a natural thing to do. So yeah, I'd definitely rather start with the blank canvas.
We'll transition to the business operations side. We were talking earlier this week about some of the things. While this is a private club, there are ways of people that have interest in the club, interest in the property here itself. There is a community that you will drive through part of it getting up to the club. Talk a little bit about some of those options, the offers that are out there, as far as what someone who may be considering buying a house in Highlands or Cashiers or something like that, he finds out about Waterfall and says, "Well, how do I get connected, put my feet on the ground, and see what my options are?"
Sure. So we, when we repositioned this project, we realized that the only way to be successful is to be more inclusive. The exclusivity of a private club still remains. There are certain things that membership has its privileges, but we found over the course of the years the best way to qualify a prospect is to have them enjoy the services and amenities. So there are various ways to do that. As a guest of a member, everybody typically knows somebody that has a Lake Burton experience if you grew up in Georgia. But if you're interested in tasting and feeling and seeing the amenities and services of Waterfall Club, we run a small resort component that is intended just to do that exactly, just to give people an idea of what our members enjoy every day. And so we have a small hotel product that we have 6 rooms. It's adjacent to our Overlook, which is our casual restaurant. Our theater, our game room, our theater, our kids room, and our movie theater is right next to it as well. So it's positioned where you're right in the thick of things as far as the amenities and services, and it's the bottom level of this building that we're in now. And we've run that for the last 5-6 years, and we do about 400 or 500 stays a year, and some of those are relative to members and extra space they needed when they run out of rooms in their houses and cabins on Lake Burton. But other ones are people that express an interest, that say, hey, we want to learn a little bit more about Waterfall. We want to play golf or have a massage in your spa, use the indoor workout, indoor tennis, outdoor tennis, and dine with these great views. We have a boat that we rent to get attached to Lake Burton, a dock that we have on Burton to do some day recreation as well. So you really can get the full experience. And what we found, like we said, it's just they become membership prospects. They come back. They start looking with realtors about what they might want to do in their next chapter of life, to have a home in the mountains or have a home around Lake Burton. It certainly doesn't appeal to everyone, but the people that like it, they really, really like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, if the mountain life isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea, the kind of luxury lifestyle living that you see, the architecture is not going to be for everybody, but for those who that's their thing, this is your place. You are not lacking in any of that.
If you want to go out late afternoon and get on the backside and only have the hawks and wildlife screeching around you and get lost in nature and in one of the most serene settings in the world, and this is pretty special.
What's one of your favorite memories or favorite stories that you share with people all the time from here?
Wow. Well, I guess just the progression of where we've come from has really attracted such a grateful membership and a grateful employee base as well. And I think that's probably one of the most rewarding and cool things to have seen over the course of the years is, there was a period in time, just like a lot of the golf club communities and real estate and, we all know what happened in 2008 and 2009 and kind of coming out of the ashes of that, there was a period of time where our members who had enjoyed this lifestyle for, the club started in 1999, so they had been multiple years into this thing and gotten attached to it. And there was a period of time where we just didn't know if it was going to be around tomorrow. And working through that with a couple of different startups, we finally found the right mix. And As I mentioned, got real estate, off of our plate where we could really focus on the club, which was a gamble, but it turned out that our members responded well, and we attracted a lot new members. But along the way, the people that have lived it with us, they're so grateful of all that we went through, that there's just such a high level of appreciation, and that's really, really special. I don't have any members that have been around at any point, any length of time that that are difficult, that are ungrateful, that are pretentious, that are standoffish. I mean, we're forming really, really great relationships here, and as well with the employees. The employees that get it, they stick around. I've got employees that have been here since the beginnings, all 20 years. I've got employees that are brand new, but they get it, and they plan to be around for 20 years. It's just it's a special situation here because there's so many opportunities for people if they stick around and if they get attached to this. The level of membership, the level of people that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, the simple networking opportunities are tremendous. When I transitioned from one ownership to another, I was having meetings with CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and the attorneys and negotiators for world-class companies, and we were sitting down talking about this project, and I got to really learn a lot from that process. Sometimes you learn more from adversity, and coming on the other side of that thing, just having the grateful spirit is just a joy to be around every day. And just the seasonality, the 4 seasons, the fact that we're really in a temperate rainforest. We had 105 inches of rain last year, which was the most I've seen since I've been here. We had 101 in 2013, and I thought that was going to wash us away. But the trade-off is, look at how green and just lush and beautiful. Funny thing is people from out west, they come out and they're from Colorado or wherever, and I say, oh, I love your mountains, and they're so majestic, and we love to go skiing and hiking in the summers. And the first thing they say is, we love your mountains. They're so lush and green and rolling and pretty. The natural surroundings are terrific, and then you think about the geographical area where you can be pretty much 6 hours to either coast, Gulf or coast. You're 4 hours from Charlotte. You're 4.5 hours from Nashville. Atlanta, you can do in your sleep. It's a hop, skip, and jump, especially from northern Atlanta. But most of our membership is coming from the Atlanta area. Mostly from Georgia, mostly within a day's drive, we're finding. But we are seeing some regional folks that seek us out. And, again, it's just because there's so much to do here, especially seasonally.
Yeah. One of the things that you touched on, but because we both like to cook and eat, I wanted to have you talk about the level and the quality of the food here.
Yeah, absolutely. We've really made quite a breakthrough with our chef that's in his second year. Justin Johnson has come over to us. We recruited him from Chateau Elan, where he ran their banquet program, a huge program that he ran. And one of the things that he's brought to us is his base level of culinary knowledge is tremendous, but he's actually able to slow down and think and be intentional and listen to member feedback and to really to mirror his program and his culinary programming around what our members really want. And it's a southern influence, mountain style cuisine. It's eclectic, but it's not pretentious. It's using the best available ingredients, throwing in some local vegetables, especially this time of year. Even though we are far away from the coast, our clientele is health conscious, and so we are doing a lot of fresh fish. But we found a purveyor that is, harpooning on Wednesday and on our plates on Friday. So it's been a really good progression, and we really feel that we're sort of hitting it right on the target now. They want variety, but they also want to see a dish that when they've had it before, that they come back and it's still there. So that's, that's a challenge in its own regard. But what he usually does is it creates a weekly rotating menu, and then member favorites from that go on to a static menu, and so you have both menus. That, and coupled with our wine program, we're able to really get some highly allocated wines, and our wine list is something that we're also very proud of.
Yeah, I would imagine your wine list is pretty spectacular here.
It's a lot of fun because we can we can get things, and we can do things that we don't have to sell tomorrow. So when you can do that, and you can lay things down and put it on a list and don't worry about it, somebody along the way is going to really appreciate this wine, although maybe only 0.5% of wine drinkers even know what it is. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Let a little dust collect on the bottle. So we need to go harpooning one time. It's like, I want to go harpooning. I'll go harpooning Wednesday and be back here Friday.
Yeah, strangely, that's not one of our amenities.
No. I want to diverge here. Something fun I like to do called lightning round, which has nothing to do with anything that we've talked about. You're well versed in most aspects of life, so I didn't feel like I needed to preface this with have you seen these two movies? So, which is the more emotional speech? William Wallace on the battlefield at Braveheart, or Augie's speech in front of the school in the movie Wonder?
Oh, well, definitely Wonder.
Definitely Wonder.
Definitely Wonder.
I was gonna peg you for Braveheart.
No, I'm not. I just that sort of, I guess maybe because it's a history piece, and you really like, I question whether or not that really went down that way. That's I just don't know. Maybe.
So it's the validity of the speech that sets it back.
Exactly, the probability that it actually happened, I think. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, either one would have been fine. They're both fantastic movies. If you haven't seen either one, most people, Braveheart's been around. Can you believe Braveheart's been like 20 years? How old do I feel when I say that? Doesn't have to be work-related, but personal, professional, a box you'd like to check somewhere in the next decade.
I would like to travel more, and that could be personally or professionally. But I think the more you travel, I think the more you realize that people are the same, people are different. The more you have, empathy for other people, and really come away a little more well-rounded, I think, when you see somebody else's environment. And so I'd really like to travel. I think we're going to be able to do that a little bit, going to see my brother in Melbourne, Australia this fall, which will be good. We're celebrating our parents' 70th birthday and 50th wedding anniversary, so we're going to do that down under, which will be cool, because I've never been that far outside of the States, but literally halfway around the world. But yeah, I think that can be both professionally and personally. I think once I get to a place where I feel like I've done everything that I can do here, I don't know when that is, but I'd like to stay in the hospitality industry, either consulting and traveling and helping others with some of the things that I've learned, potentially, if anybody wants to listen.
How do people who are listening, their interest has been piqued? How do they find out more about the club, about booking one of the hotel suites, which I imagine are pretty awesome?
Yeah, they are. They're comfortable. They're what we found here is that because the outdoors and the amenities and services and activities is what people want to do, you have to have a comfortable place to lay your head down, but you're not spending a whole lot of time in your room. So we've outfitted them very nicely, but nothing too extravagant, because it really is it's the outdoors and the dining and the spa and the golf and all those other things that we are, and that's what you really want to be doing. But yeah, we have a website, www.waterfallclub.com, and that's got a lot of good information. The pictures are great, the information's great, but again, you have to really experience this to understand it. To really, you gotta go to bed with it, wake up with the clouds rolling in from the mountains with your cup of coffee, and you really just need to experience the tranquility of it. So go to that website or give us a call. Our club number is 4,000, and any one of the number of people that might answer can point you in the right direction of either talking about our lodge accommodations, kind of the hotel product that we have, or we also have some nicely outfitted homes within the community that we rent based on needs for a certain number of beds, or if you're going to stay for a full weekend, it might be more comfortable to for you and your family to have a home. So there's several opportunities, and we'd love to share it. Absolutely love to share it.
Well, we're going to end on that. One of the things that we try to do every week on the podcast is, as we say, help you embrace life where you live. And if you are commuting to a mountain home out of state or someplace like that, or have been thinking about expanding your interest in vacation and traveling and just getting some R&R without having to go too far, we hope we've given you some great things to think about, to talk about. And for those who are wrapping up their careers and want to have a great place to lay their head and just really enjoy the life that you've worked for, this is a great spot. It's a mountain town, but it has the finer things. If you've never been to Lake Burton, you got to come up. With that, we're going to end. Jason, thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
This is the North Georgia Life Podcast. Embrace life where you live.